Straight through and under the post, the Army hit back. And it's straight over for a try. Early doors for the Navy. That ball goes out wide. It is going to be another try for the RAF.
Hello and a very misty welcome to Craven Park, home of course of Super League giants Hull Kingston Rovers. I'm Kath Brazier and we're into the second week of Inter-Services Rugby League, where of course the reigning champions, the Army women, enter the tournament. Let's see how they've been preparing.
Go! Yes, up! No! Let's go!
I think it's always been a really big competition in services, especially against the RAF and Navy. I think everyone goes into the game because they just want that title.
New beginning for you as well as captain. What does it mean to take over that captaincy from someone like Emily as well, who's held on to it for so long and pushed the game forward? It's, I suppose, a big responsibility.
Oh, it's been a huge responsibility, but I think being a player and then moving on to being captain, it's just been a lot easier to just get into the swing of things. Emily was amazing last year, and I always said when I got captain that should be so hard to beat. But all the girls have just been amazing, and it's an honour really to be captain.
There's always pressure for us to perform every time. We're never going out thinking that we're going to win. We always go out with a sort of positive mind, but always think in the back of our head we don't know what the other team's going to bring on the day. So we are always sceptical of the outcome. It's always sort of best thing just to see how it goes on the day, because you never know. Teams can pull stuff out the bag last minute that we're not even aware of. There's going to be a lot of big hits. I firmly believe we're going to have some really big hits and some fast play from us. Definitely some fast play from us. We're planning on upping the game significantly and speeding the play up. We've noticed we've picked that up, that it's going to run in our advantage, and the ball's going to be shipped wide most of the time. I'm not worried about telling that to anyone. It's just how you're going to react to it, and we'll wait and see.
Week, the Royal Air Force women battled to a 22-18 win over the Royal Navy. Let's see the highlights from last week at Burnaby Road.
Is there an overlap? They're looking to exploit. Was the pass there? Big hit. Try given. This is fantastic work by the Royal Air Force. Again, a huge yawning gap.
Fantastic from the Royal Navy regardless.
In the skipper's hands again, she's barrelling her way through. She has done what she set out to do. She's pleased with that one. A try for Grace Burnett. Kim Grundy looking for that support. She's got support on the outside if she needs it. A deft inside pass, and we know that the wheels are there as Hannah McCabe comes in and dots down under the posts.
I mean, that was a great display.
There, the side bank, and there goes Grundy, a yawning gap through the middle, clean pair of heels. She is going to dot in for her opening try of this year's campaign. On her debut, she's already been busy slotting over the conversions, and she'll have an opportunity to send over another in a moment. This time it's edged all the way to the wing. It's a try.
She caught that ball and was never given it. That was, you're getting a hand up and over the line.
Trying to walk it. No? Yes? A conversation first. A conversation between the officials. Oh, the ball's deemed to have been knocked on. And that's full time. Well, that rather crept up on us because of all those injuries.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Congratulations then to the Royal Air Force.
Very unfortunate ending, I think, for the Navy. They would be heartbroken about that, thinking they had scored in the last second.
The senior service then looking for redemption against a very strong and ever strong Army side. Let's join our commentary team for the match, led by Kyle Dixon.
Welcome then to I'd like to say a lovely hole, but it's very muggy, it's very misty for game 2 of the day, but the first game we're showing live here on the BFBS Forces News YouTube channel, and it is the Army versus Navy Inter-Services Rugby League. We're starting with the women, and I'm pleased to say joining me to show her expert opinion, considering she was on the pitch last week for the RAF, and she was, well, on the side of the pitch for the academy game earlier. Rachel Robertson, you have a nice shiner from last week as well. Show a physical game.
Yeah, it was a bit physical last week. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I wouldn't say expert, but glad to be here.
Don't put yourself down like that. How did the academy game go?
Academy game went really well. It was a little bit scrappy at times, but both teams fought pretty hard, and the Navy eventually came away with the win.
The Navy did come away with the win, and that meant they are the Development Inter-Services Champions. It's the only title that could be decided today due to the RAF victories in match week 1. It will go down to next week in Wakefield, but the Navy, who you guys beat last week, will be looking to try and get on the board against a very difficult Army team, it should be said, to try and beat. I can see the Navy just about to join us on the pitch, so let's run through the two teams as we have them. We're just double checking that there might be a change in terms of numbers to the Navy team. So let's start with the Army, who, well, the big change actually is a change in captaincy in the last year.
Yeah.
Emily White has stepped down from that role. She's still in the team and will provide that leadership, I'm sure. But stepping up, Lance Bombardier, Elise Townsend takes over as captain. Already part of that leadership group as well. But a slight change there. But the rest of the team is, as you'd expect, lots of talent. And they haven't had the Championship South campaign they wanted this year, but they're a strong team, this Army team.
Yeah, well, they've brought through a lot of players and have used this Southern Championship season to develop them. So they are coming into this IS pretty strong, but I believe that the Navy can give them a tough fight today.
Absolutely. Well, the Navy team then, this is what we have been told is the numbers and the starting 13. If that changes, we will let you know. But where are the real danger for the Army, the danger women for the Navy here?
Well, based off of last week, I'd say the danger is coming from their 13, Sean. And I'd say if the ruck speed picks up from last week, they're 9, Josie. Yeah, pretty tough.
They have a lot of, again, we talk about leadership. You mentioned Sean McLaughlin there. Rosie Staples, vice-captain. Cheryl Goodwin, also kind of vice-captain as well. So they've got their own leadership group as well. And against the Army where, look, it's going to be a very physical game, but it's going to be a tough game for them against this Army team. That leadership group is going to be important, I'd imagine. It
is, yeah. They're bringing on a lot of girls that were from the union setup as well, so their forwards are quite tough and physical, so it's always good to have that 3 to manipulate them around the pitch and steer them in the right direction.
Well, we're just waiting for the two teams to fully make their way out onto the pitch. We saw the Navy make their way round from the warm-up pitch, so they're on their way. But a moment on last week as the RAF beat the Navy. What sort of challenge did the Navy put up against you guys?
To be honest, the Navy was a really difficult challenge. They were very physical and they were defensively really good. It was just unfortunate that we were able to shoot through their defensive line at times. But yeah. And
that leads us on to the following part of it. You guys won last week, which means next week's game against the British Army, we know a title will be decided. For you guys, it's at least don't lose, depending on how today goes. But realistically, you want to win that game against the Army to get the championship trophy.
We do. We've built hard over the past few seasons, and our girls are wanting to go out there and show them that we're not a team to be messed with.
Absolutely. Well, as the teams make their way out then, perfect time to let you know that we are live on YouTube, on the BFBS Forces News YouTube channel, and on the BFBS Forces News Facebook page as well. So if you are watching along at home, please do get involved. Let us know your experiences of Inter-Services Rugby League, if you're a former player or involved with the teams, or maybe you're watching along and thinking, oh, you know what, I could do this. I could pull on a shirt and maybe want to get involved. Hopefully you guys will enjoy the game today. And the players then just going to go through their usual handshakes. Well, there we go. Then the dignitaries getting all their handshakes out of the way. We're expecting a really physical game. And that's what we got last year, actually, in this Inter-Services Women's Championship, where actually the conditions weren't quite what they are today in a professional stadium. But it was a muggy game. It was very difficult for the players to get through. Not quite going to be like that today.
No, hopefully not. It's a little cooler than last year, but yeah, it's not as bad as it was.
Well, as I say, we've seen the academy game on this pitch already. They haven't cut up the pitch too much, let's say. So there's plenty of room for them to get through. A big wide pitch as well. I know, speaking to the Army earlier this week, where I went to see them in Catterick, and the head coach told me that they have a simple game plan. It's move it quick through the hand, get it wide, and let's see if the Navy can deal with it. And yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult for the Navy to try and stop, I suppose.
Yeah, they've just got to be a little bit cautious, because the ground out there at the moment is still a little bit greasy from earlier on this morning.
We are having slight technical issues with a beep, and if you can hear a beep in here, as we are sorting that as soon as we can. Time for the national anthem, though. Passionately done there by the players. We quite haven't had a national anthem quite that passionate in a while. Actually, that was good.
Yeah, it beat last week's, that's for sure.
So then we're preparing for this big matchup, and we know the Army have had domination, particularly in this fixture and over the last 14 years. They're looking for Inter-Services title number 15. I know you and the RAF are going to look to try and stop them next week in particular, but how do the Navy stop them this week?
I think if the Navy can be if they can do well in defence and keep them down, and then their attack players are actually pretty good, I don't think the Army will be expecting them to be as physical as they are.
Is it about surviving the first sort of 5-10 minutes without still being in the game, and then finding your footing into the game for the Navy?
Yeah, it's always that first 10 minutes. So long as they don't do what we did and took 20 minutes to get there, I'm sure they'll do fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, it'll be the Army who get us underway with the kick. Right then, the Army's quest for a 15th Inter-Services title begins here in Hull. They've seen the RAF beat the Navy last week. They know they have to get the job done against the Royal Navy, but the Royal Navy, well, they've got a point to prove too. And the Navy with the first piece of possession. Big strong tackle in there from Yaravoli, who again, unfortunately, it looks like the numbers that we expected from the Army are slightly different, because I'm pretty sure that wasn't Kira Fitzpatrick.
No, it wasn't.
So we'll do our best to keep on top of that as where we can. Navy forcing the ball forward, but
It's a nice hold by Kat.
Yeah, absolutely. Kat Williams there, number 8 for the Army. Already physical in the first minute or so. It's going to be a battle in the middle. Kick early though. The Army should pick it up with Ellie Rains. Ellie Rains knocked down there. Big hit from Ellie Brightwell. That'll give the Navy some confidence. That's Komatai first and always through. Ooh.
Navy just need to keep their composure in this defence now.
And they're breaking through the Army here. We will try and get these numbers confirmed for you. Unfortunately, what's out on the Army social media page isn't quite correct, but the Army forcing through again here with their number 15. Again, we are trying to sort out a slight issue with a beep in at the moment, so bear with us on that one. We'll get that sorted for you as soon as we can. And referees call a stop to it. The Army on the attack. Forcing through there for the Army. Chance maybe. Good strong defence that. But they might get over here, and they have. Army on the scoreboard inside the first 3 minutes here. Just trying to get hold of a number. With a big red hat on, just trying to get hold of the number, but the Army do get on the scoreboard early. 4 points go the way of the reigning inter-services champions. Might have been Isabel Bibby actually, not quite sure. Again, I think our numbers given to us by the Army Rugby League are incorrect at the moment, because the Army clearly swapped a lot of shirts. But I think it might have been Isabel Bibby. The kick though, another 2 points on the board for the Army. Strong start from the inter-services champions.
And that kick came from Kira.
That kick came from Kira Fitzpatrick, not wearing number 3, wearing number 20. We're catching up. We're writing them down. We're catching up. But the Army on the board is 6 points then. Not the start the Navy really needed. We said about staying in at the first 5 to 10 minutes. That's 6 points down after 4. Then looking to get back into it and respond. Kick didn't go as far as they'd have hoped there. Now the Army coming away with some momentum. They're forcing the way through. Quick passing as they alluded to would get. Strong run from the number 15. Which might be Sky Jackson, I believe, actually.
Yeah, that's Izzy working out a hooker at the moment.
Army putting on the pressure early on. Can the Navy stand to it? At the moment they can't, and they're through again. A second try for the British Army early on, 5 minutes or 6 minutes in. And the Army have 2 tries on the board already. It might be number 12, well, we have number 12, clearly not wearing number 12, Sandy Lewis, but we are trying to work that out for you. Chance for Kira Fitzpatrick from the kick then to add another 2 points and cap off a pretty perfect Army start.
I think that the Navy just need to keep their composure in defence.
Easily done then for Kira Fitzpatrick. And 12 points on the board, 6 minutes in. A lot of work for the Navy to do. And I mean, you say about the defence that too many gaps already, just opening up for the Army to wander through into at the moment.
There is at the minute. This seems to be coming through the middle. So if they can keep their composure and drift in and out, they'll be able to close that down. But this score they are able to come back from this. I mean, it was done last week. And the Navy can do it just as well.
Absolutely. In Services Rugby League, expect the unexpected, that's for sure. But at the moment, the Navy will need to find an added level. Better kick this time, goes a little further.
Decent boot from Hannah Parkinson.
And that's Charlotte Hill forcing the ball forward for the Army.
Oh, unfortunately, it was ripped away.
We are working on this beeping issue for anyone wondering. Samantha Owen, I understand, I did see the comment on YouTube, but we are working on it. And I think we might have fixed the issue. So let's get on with hopefully a great game of rugby league. We're gonna blame the official standing next to us, I think.
It was most definitely me. I left my Mosin on.
There we go. But we're getting underway again. The Navy with a possession crossing the halfway line. Big hit again. Takes 2 to get her down, but she is down. Good running forward from the Navy. The Navy getting good ground here, but can they force it forward? It's going to be a kick from Cheryl Goodwin. It's bounced around. There might be a chance for the Navy to bounce onto it. Not quite. Charlotte Hill says no and will come away on the left-hand side. Good run in from the Army number 1.
Oh, lovely tackle.
Massive hit. She stayed on her feet more or less though. Rolled out of it. The Army keep coming forward.
They just need to work on staying on in the tackle.
Chance now for the number 3. We think might be Manakola Komatai. Emily White passes it on forward and good hands get the wingers through again.
Lovely tackle there.
Last ditch, but the Navy survive. Really good tackle from Ellie Brightwell, I think it might have been. The Army still coming. Power trying to force through. Officials will call this back though.
It's a handover for the Navy.
Navy now trying to get out of a danger zone, but the Army press is vigilant.
Here comes Captain Sean McLaughlin.
McLaughlin trying to force a way out. And the Navy trying to get some ground going again.
Nice quick ball from the Navy.
Despite a poor start, they've got to have confidence in their actions here. Get hold of the ball, move it quickly. And that's what they're doing at the moment. Trying to force through. Cut down by the number 13, and I think that might be the new Army captain, Elise Townsend. Kira Fitzpatrick nearly pulled away, but not quite.
No, it looks like she's knocked it on while she's done so.
We just asked the Army Rugby League just to give us an updated list, so hopefully we'll get a new number soon. Navy a little slow coming out of there, but cut out by a strong Army challenge.
Nice run by Ellie.
Emily White trying to stop the Navy coming forward there, wearing number 7. White and the captain Townsend, but the Navy keep hold of it.
Nice tackle by Kat Williams and Izzy. Stopping Sean in her tracks.
It's just getting more and more gritty. Good quick pass in there. Just on that near side, but the Navy don't seem to be getting through this brick wall at the moment. That's some good running to get through though from Lauren Watson.
She's done a couple of really good runs lately. Really improved a lot since last week as well.
The Navy are going to need their brave runners today, and starting to grow into the game now, the Royal Navy. Fitzpatrick then.
With the offload. Out to Izzy.
Isabel Bibby from the Royal Military Police. Sky Jackson bursting through. Brings power to the game, Sky Jackson.
She's a difficult one to get down once she gets some momentum going, so you always have to come up and hit her short.
Emily White now for the Army. Chopped down.
I think she's taken an injury.
Yeah, she's holding her knee, and I believe she has had a history of some knee issues as well. So we hope this is just a short knock for her, and she'll be back up very shortly. So if you are watching along on YouTube, on the BFPS Forces News YouTube, or on BFPS Forces News Facebook, please do get involved. We have no ticking sound anymore, so we're all good. Adam Sosa says it's a lovely day for it. I'm not sure what Adam Sosa's seeing there, but I'm sensing sarcasm there.
It's a foggy but mild day. There's no rain, so you've got to love it. Bit of summer rugby.
It's quite a cool temperature for the players, though, actually. It might not be a
is.
bad thing for them not to be roasting away. John Knighton's watching on Facebook, as you'd expect. He wanted to be here, but he's watching on at home. He says big credit to the Navy here, have tackled really well early after suffering those 2 early scores. And he has a point, really, to bounce back from a disappointing start for the Royal Navy. The Army sort of get through perhaps a little too easily than they'd like, but they've grown back into the game, the Navy.
They are. I feel like they're finding their confidence now, and it seems to be working well. They just need to find their weak spots for the Army and push through.
Well, Emily White then leaving the field, a stalwart of Forces Rugby League, so we hope this isn't a bad injury for her, but I just seeing her leave the field, I'd be very surprised if we see much more of her this afternoon.
No, hopefully they'll be resting her up for next week. I do hope that it isn't something serious.
So I think it's number 17 who's come on for the Army, which we've got as Phoebe Partington, so we'll see if that is the correct list. But the Army coming forward now, quick hands into the wide positions. They might get another score, they do. That might be Akisa Yaravoli, if our list is correct. And the Army have a third score, and just as we say, the Navy are doing well to get back into it. The red machine goes on again. The game plan that Adam Coburn said that they were going to do, get the ball quickly through the line and wide and see how the Navy deal with it, and well, they couldn't there.
No, unfortunately not, but the only bonus to that is it was out wide and it wasn't through the middle, so the defensive setup is starting to come together.
So the Army then 3 tries on the board, and Kira Fitzpatrick will make it 3 kicks out of 3 if she adds 2 more points.
She is pretty accurate with her kicking.
Very good kicker. When it counts for the Army, Kira Fitzpatrick usually steps up, and these points from the conversion could be super important, moving the advertising board out the way to get her run up correct. It is some way out though, so it will be a very good kick for Kira Fitzpatrick if she can nail this.
Just a little short on that one.
Just a little. We gave her the big introduction there, and then
That's
realised
my
it
fault.
was actually quite a far way out. So, yeah, she doesn't have the 2 points though, and the Army are 16 up. We're only played 16 minutes, so point a minute somewhere along the line, I guess.
It's still recoverable.
Absolutely.
Still recoverable.
Still a long way to go in this one for the Navy. Just need to find more of an attacking threat.
So long as they can keep their composure within themselves and not start to argue, I feel like they'll come back in the second half.
That's where
They'll hit them hard.
That's where that leadership team will be important, right? We're talking Cheryl Goodwin, Rosie Staples, and obviously Sean McLaughlin. If they can keep some of the younger players grounded as well. That's Partington for the Army pushing it forward. Now Sky Jackson. Isabel Bibby quickly offloads and trying to force through there, the Army. We've got his number 16. I'm not sure that is.
Oh, unfortunate knock on. If the Navy were able to stay on a little bit longer in the ruck, they'll slow that Army down and work better on their defence. A lot of the times they're jumping off as soon, but that's a Union thing coming forward. I feel like next year they're going to be a really hard team to beat for both the RAF and the Army.
Well, it's a project, isn't it, at this level for the Navy at the moment? It's still a project of improving year on and year on. And last week against you guys, you could see improvement from the year before.
Yeah.
So
Matty's worked really hard with the girls, and I feel they're really buying into everything that he's bringing forward as a coach.
Big hit again. Speaking of somebody who knows inter-services, Forces Rugby League so well, Ella Donnelly is cheering away for the Army on YouTube.
Oh, she should be getting ready for a big match tonight.
Well, you know, perfect pre-match watch. And the Navy forces force their way back into the game here. Cut down by Partington and the current Army 16. Strong run-in from the Royal Navy.
Yeah, nice tackle by Izzy though, short and low.
The Navy crossed in further into the field than we've seen them so far, really. Time for a kick. more up than away. And the Army will get hold of the ball again.
It's nice pressure from the Navy, but like I said before, if they just stay on them that little bit longer in the ruck, they'll be able to get 10.
Well, the Navy put the pressure on there, and the Army error means the Navy will get the ball back and potentially an attacking position. Rosie Staples leading the Army attack with the number 10. Now can the Navy use quick hands to work this wide? It's kept alive just about. Accuracy not quite there, but the Navy keep hold of it. Second tackle finally brings down
Ellie Brightwell, that was.
Ellie Brightwell. Now Staples. Ball worked inside. Good hands from the Navy.
That's Hannah Parkinson playing in at centre. She was their 6th last week.
Samantha Bernals on YouTube is saying that Z with 2 tries. Love it. So we believe it could be then, potentially, number 11, Lance Corporal Zella Yule with the tries for the Army. But we'll try and get that confirmed with the Army very soon. The Navy then looking to cut this away. The kick wasn't really up to scratch though.
And that'll be Zella again then with the run.
Jessica Shaw. Zella, as you say, interrupting it. The Navy forcing down.
Nice hit by Ellie.
The Army number 10. She's forcing through though, isn't she, Komatai? And now Bibby. And she's got pace to burn, Isabel Bibby.
It was a nice little cheeky offload to her as well. Fast ball and the Navy's
talk
not
about
back.
Pace. I mean, for the 3rd time in the game, the midfield, or the middle of the pitch, opened up and the Army take full advantage for their 4th try.
Charlotte does have a tendency to find the weakness in opposition and really attack it.
Well, she's scored on the wing, she's scored now in the middle. And the Army are well on top here in Hull. And you would expect an easier conversion potentially for Kira Fitzpatrick here. Don't want to put the jinx on her.
Not saying anything.
Was Broadley says, come on the Army. Kira Fitzpatrick there with the kick. Easily done, and the Army have 18 points here in 22 minutes, and the Royal Navy are sort of falling away now, and the Army, you wonder how many points they can add here if they continue at this frightening form.
I don't want to think.
The Navy still have time though.
They do.
They do.
They can still fight it back. I mean, a few years back, we were sitting 32-0 at half-time against the Army, and unfortunately lost 36-34. So it can be done. They can bring it back.
Score currently, I believe, should be 18-0. We're just double checking on the scoreboard. So we've got that correct, yep. No.
I think it's 22 now.
We'll get that double check for you guys. We trust the touch judge next to us. Yeah, 22 we're going to go with.
Oh, nice run from Sky. Navy just need to keep hold of her.
Forcing a way through like a juggernaut. And now the run again from Kira Fitzpatrick.
Navy really need to keep that ball wrapped up in an attack, in defence.
Army coming forward again though. Captain Elise Townsend leading the charge.
Oh,
Great
nice
challenge.
tackle.
Great challenge from the Royal Navy to keep down the Army number 10.
And that was Ellie Brightwell again. She's having an absolute stormer with the tackles too.
The Army coming forward though with Bibby collecting and driving. Trying to drive, she was dragged back, really good defending, but the Army is still coming forward. Right on the try line with the number 4. And Bibby is over. And another try for the Army, another 4 points. That's 26 now.
And straight in front of the sticks. I'm not going to say it, but we know she's going to do it.
Lovely kick for Kira Fitzpatrick to take on, that's for sure. Isabel Bibby gets on the score sheet. It's just what the Army deserve. They've been ruthless every time they come forward. You're watching this as an RAF representative looking ahead to next week, and I suppose there's a bit of, right, where do you get ahead at stopping these? I'm not going to ask for game tactic next week.
No, not going to give any of that away.
Give it away. I'm sure you guys will have your separate plans, and watching this will be great to work on that for you. But the Army do look formidable at the moment, as Kira Fitzpatrick looks to add 4 kicks from 5, and she does. And that will be another 2 points. So far in this women's game, it's not been happy viewing if you're a Royal Navy fan sat at home. But there's still time for the Navy to turn this around. We're just into the second half of the first half here, so there's plenty of time for them to turn it around. It's going to take brave running, it's going to take brave tackling, potentially might take the Army just falling off a little bit, but let's see how the rest of the game goes.
Yeah, I'd like to see a bit of pressure off this kick and see how the Army handle that.
Kick then picked up from Charlotte Hill, and that pressure that you spoke about I don't think was quite there, but they eventually get her down. Bibby offloading, smart play from the Army.
Nice wrap again from Ellie Brightwell. See how easy it is for them to get back once that ball's been wrapped up and they stay in the ruck.
Army trying to force it through the hands of the Navy. Better pressure now. The captain for the Army was chopped down, but the Army come forward again. It's going to go wide. Yaravoli's, well, cut off by a tackle and the referee's whistle. The Navy trying to get messages on board. They're going to be making a quick change here as well. Kerry Wright comes on with, I'm assuming, some messages as well to try and change something on the field, because at the moment it's not worked for the Royal Navy.
Yeah, and I think that's Hannah Parkinson's been brought off.
It looks like that, yep.
Looks like they're having a bit of a juggle of their pack as well.
You have to change something, I suppose, when you're in this position, and in a way, nothing to lose for the Navy at this point. Change something and see if it makes the difference. Strong run in there. Cut down from Hill and Kira Fitzpatrick.
Oh, nice offload by Sean to Josie.
Good quick feet as well from Josie Barnaby.
Back out to Ellie again. Looks like both teams need to learn to wrap the ball. I say that from an RAF perspective.
Yeah. It's Ellie Brightwell forcing forward now for the Navy. Really do need to get a score on the board at least to get some confidence back into this game. They're driving. Now Josie Parnaby. Jasmine Abel driving forward for the Royal Navy.
She's made 2 beautiful tackles at fullback.
She's trying to make an attacking threat now. And the Navy force it went a little bit sloppy, and it lets the red wall of defence lurch upon them.
Kira getting a little bit feisty there.
Kira Fitzpatrick, feisty?
I don't know what you're on about.
Well, it will result in the Navy sort of relinquishing pressure there, and the Army coming forward again. The quiet Royal Navy bench below us at the moment. It's going to take 3 to get her down, but down she goes.
Ref had already called held as the third one came in. It's just unfortunate.
A moment for the official then. He is from the British Army, but I'm sure he's doing a completely unbiased job. I would never say he'd do anything like that.
He is. All 3 of us have to stay unbiased throughout. But yeah, at the moment we've got Ross McCarthy. He's your ref in the middle. And then you've got Dennis Knoll on the far side, and you've got Pete Smith running the touch in front of the Navy and Army teams.
Army forcing forward here with number 12. Could be Sandy Lewis. Isabel Bibby picking it up behind. It's going to go wide again, you'd imagine. Kira Fitzpatrick bundled down. There was an offload to Yaravoli available, but it'll go inside. Sky Jackson's going to try and burst. Oh, it's just dropped.
Unfortunate knock on by Izzy then from Sky's offload.
The Army are finding their gaps though, aren't they, with Fitzpatrick, Yaravoli, Hill, Bibby and Jackson all finding a way through at the moment.
They are. They're really hitting hard down that right-hand side of the Navy.
We might have an up-to-date Army number list with us at the moment, so we're just going to check that now, and hopefully we'll be able to get you along a little bit more. It looks more up-to-date to me.
Nice tackle by Elise. Navy are running hard and strong.
Cut down though by Vakasegu for the Army. That's a strong run again. This time Ellie Rains cuts it off. One thing you will absolutely guarantee with this Royal Navy team, there will be no letting it happen. They will continue to fight, continue to push the ball forward as much as they can. The kick goes, and that's a solid kick.
Nice pressure from the Navy though.
Yaravoli underneath it. And now the Army come forward with Komatai.
She's always such a strong runner.
Hard to stop, as is Isabel Bibbe, who's going to find a gap and try and get through it.
Taken down by Sean.
Komatai again. Offloads to Fitzpatrick. Jinkin. The Navy defence though, cutting off any gaps. That's better from the Royal Navy. Pressure still on though with Sky Jackson. There's a big call to go wide here. I can see Shannon Dring in a lot of space for the Army towards the right. That's where it might end up here, but actually it's inside. They're right on the line. Is it over?
Oh, I'm not sure. It looks like there's a hand. Ref's given it.
The ref has given it, and that will be a score then for Phoebe Partington. Come into the game as a replacement for former Army captain Emily White, and that's a good way to make a claim for a starting spot potentially next week.
Yeah, it is.
The Army, though, get another score on the board as the mist rolls in at Hull.
And the wind picks up in the crow's nest.
Kira Fitzpatrick then, her 6th conversion attempt, if my maths is correct. And simply done from Kira Fitzpatrick. The Army well on top now. According to our list, Kira Fitzpatrick is actually meant to be wearing 21 even on the updated list. We can clearly see she's wearing 20. So Kira Fitzpatrick does what she wants, I think. When you've got that much kicking talent, why not?
Yeah. To be fair, you can't miss Kira.
Around 10 minutes to go till half time. It's been a very, very battering 35 minutes, so to speak, for the Royal Navy, physically and potentially mentally at the scoreline, but they've got to stay in this. As you said, a few years ago against this Army team, you were 34 points down, I believe, and you dragged it back. Yes, you ended up losing the game just about, but you made a real fight of it, and that's what the Navy have to try and do here. But
They
Sky
just need
Jackson
to keep hold. Lovely
to
tackle.
hard to stop a juggernaut like Sky Jackson sometimes. Bibby. Dropped though by Ellie Rains. Let off for the Navy.
Yeah, Samantha Hill, their number 2 for the Navy. She's been making some fantastic tackle saves.
I suppose this is where the difficult things comes for the Navy. They've conceded 6 tries now. Six tries now.
Ah, but it's only 6.
No, but what I was going to say was actually defensively in terms of strong tackles, they've made some really strong runs. There is a lot of positive to the Navy game, but sometimes the Army opposition is just a little too strong at the moment for them.
Yeah, it's just a little bit unfortunate. They are making big, strong tackles, like you said, and they are driving strong as well. It's just trying to find that chink in the Army's armour.
Apart from maybe a couple of times in the middle has been a little too open for the Navy. They're doing the simple things at the moment, and that's something this Navy coaching team will take a lot of positives from. As we've mentioned, this is a building mission.
Looks like Sky's coming off.
Sky is coming off. Sky Jackson for the Army. On comes Kasalani Guanavinaka from the number 14, and off will come Yaravoli as well.
I'm unsure who's replaced Sky at the moment.
We'll try and see what number has come on. The Navy then trying to force the ball forward.
Lovely run by Jasmine Abel.
Cut down by Jade Tonks, who I think might have just come off the replacements bench. Back for holding, I think. I'm not sure.
No, I think she was offside then when she went in.
Well, this is part 1 of a double header of live inter-services rugby league and the Army v Navy rivalry that comes with it. The women now, the men's game later, where you'll see the Royal Navy, the defending champions, try and fight back from defeat last week. The Navy are trying to fight back here. Molly Ellis showing a little bit of passion in her run-in and offload there. Maybe that's more what the Navy need. Brightwell trying to break through. That's Alana Bythell. Can the Navy really land a punch on the Army now? Not as many options as they'd like here on this left-hand side. More towards the right, if I'm honest. But
oh, nice run by Josie.
Josie Barnaby glides through, approaching that try line. The Navy really do need to get a score on the board here, so pressure's on them to get that over. Ellie Brightwell
Nice run.
dragged to the ground, and
I think that's Phoebe down.
back up to her feet, Phoebe Partington. The Navy putting the pressure on now, but not able to get over the try line.
Hopefully they can keep them in this half.
Charlotte Hill trying to
Lovely
end
tackle
that
by
thought.
Ellie.
The Navy trying to contain the Army into their own half and potentially find an attacking route, but it's the Army who come forward again with Komatai.
Just need to keep hold of her.
It's easier said than done though, and Isabel Bibby.
Oh, nice tackle by Jasmine again. She just
Vital.
needs to stay on top.
Vital tackle from Jasmine Abel. But it's spread wide. A palm off as well from Vakasegu inside.
Unfortunately, that ball went forward in her offload.
There we go. When the Army come forward like that, though, it feels like a momentum train that's hard to just, I'd say stop, but not get run over by at the moment. Hopefully, after next week's game, you don't have another black eye on the other side.
I mean, if I do have another black eye, then I've done my job. I've become a speed bump and stopped them. So that's all that matters.
That badge of honour for you.
A little bit. Oh,
Big hit there in the middle. I think it was Ellie Rains who,
she always manages to hit you pretty hard.
when I went up to Catterick to see these Army girls, Ellie Rains was demanding so much of the team in such a good way, the professional way, but she is someone that is a big voice in this team.
She is. She leads well as well from the front, and the girls really respect her, which helps.
Approaching the end of this first half then, it's been a difficult half for the Royal Navy. The Army will be very pleased with their work in this opening 40 minutes or so. Kick from Jessica Shaw.
Now to put the pressure on. No one's picked it up.
Bounced a few times more than you'd expect, and Bibi picked it up, and now Komatai into Hill, bouncing away from 2 and 3, and the Navy defence is just letting it fall through, and it's another try on the board for Charlotte Hill and the British Army to end the first half.
She's just got some lovely dancing feet.
It's hard to stop. It's way too much gaps in there though for the Navy for what they would have aimed for today, which would have been stay compact. That pretty much summed up the first half there.
I'm sure Matty will have something to say in the changing rooms with them, but I feel like they're going to come out here in the second half and make a big impact against the Army.
Well, they'll need to, that's for sure. Chance then for Kira Fitzpatrick to add 2 more points. As the Army gallivant over the Navy try line again. Fitzpatrick just about fitting it in and ending a pretty dominant Army first half. We know they can be good. We've seen it full evidence there. The Navy, lots of positives in little bits of the game, but in terms of the bigger picture, they've not really been able to lay a glove on them, so to speak.
No, it's been slightly unfortunate. It was nice to see towards the last 10 minutes of the game the Navy actually bringing it to the Army and seeing the Army do a bit of defensive work. I think the Navy have realised that they do have weaknesses on either side that they are able to exploit. It's just working to exploit them, and then defensively they need to work together as a team.
Well, it's been full force from the British Army as they look for a 15th consecutive inter-services title. The RAF will try and stop them next week, but so far the Navy have not really been able to. Half-time, British Army 40, Royal Navy 0. So, half-time then, we've got some great content coming your way. We are going to see some of the best tries from down the years from the Inter-Services Rugby League, as well as what else is going on across the Forces Sport Team world with In Case You Missed It.
Hello, I'm John Knighton and this is In Case You Missed It. RAF officers Amy Cockayne for England and Sarah Bonner for Scotland played pivotal roles in a highly successful weekend against top international rugby opposition. Cockayne starred as replacement hooker, gaining her 76th international cap as England beat New Zealand 24-12 at the Allianz Stadium, Twickenham, their 17th unbeaten match since the Black Ferns beat them in the 2022 World Cup final. They'll meet again on October the 8th in Canada at the WXV1 finals, where England are defending champions. Bonner played a pivotal role for Scotland as they demolished Fiji, running in 9 tries in a 59-15 win at the Hive Stadium, in the first ever meeting between the two teams. Scotland are looking to defend their WXV2 title. Staying with rugby union, and Royal Navy scrum half Will Wrigglesford has signed for English Championship side Cornish Pirates. The 26-year-old, who scored a try for the senior service in this season's Army-Navy match, serves as an engineering technician. He skippered the Royal Navy Sevens side this season and has represented the UK Armed Forces. The halfback joins Pirates following a successful trials period with the team. Royal Marines boxer George Crotty has announced he's stepping back from the Great Britain squad after 7 years with the team. Crotty has more than 50 fights to his name, and in his 7 years at Sheffield he's collected 7 gold medals, including the Eindhoven and Algarve Box Cups, but twice just missed out on Olympic selection. Announcing his decision on his Instagram page, Crotty said his time with the squad was the best 7 years of my boxing career. Big thanks to the GB coaching and support team and to the Royal Marines and Navy for giving me the opportunity, because if it wasn't for them, none of this would have happened. British Army officers Kat Matthews and Rosie Wild are among the 52 athletes competing this weekend in the World Ironman Championships. They take place on Sunday in Nice in the south of France. They'll begin with a 2.4-mile swim in the Mediterranean, followed by 112 miles on the full gas bike course, and finish with a full 26.2-mile marathon. The total distance, 140.6 miles. Kat is aiming for her first world title. She currently sits 5th in the Ironman Pro Series standings.
Sunshine greeted the players in Nottinghamshire, and it was a bright start for the RAF with a try in the opening minutes, followed by this score from light blue skipper Tom Quainton. His deputy, Vice-Captain Kieran Jenkins, then got over the whitewash in a dominant first half for the military side. Nottingham Trent University brought some pace of their own, but were unable to make it count before the break. 28-0 the half-time score. The RAF, hoping for some tough opposition before their inter-services later this year, were hit with this move through the backs, much to the delight of the university support. But the Light Blues stole the show thanks to tries like this breakaway effort from hooker Chris Williams. 47-12 the final score, and the RAF under-23s now look ahead to a clash with Cambridge University on the 6th of October.
Here to the ladies in red. Great run there by Kira Fitzpatrick. She's got some wheels on when she turns it on.
She got that down, I can't quite see in the corner. Yeah, it's given.
Yeah, over here in the right corner.
Sense an opportunity here to get an early score. That could be really important for them. And going for the line now is Linda McLean.
And that is a try for the RAF.
Over. Linda McLean scores an early one for the RAF.
And that high ball again at the end of a set. That may well fall for Alex Barnes, and she is over! Wow! Kicked her own kick, ran through. That was amazing, Jim. I mean, that's champagne again, isn't it?
Kick to the arm in their own 20.
Name on the ball.
Bit of luck there.
That tactic worked before and it's worked again, and this time the Army are running away with it. She's closed down, but has she got the wheels? Has she got the gas? Yaravoli running the length of the pitch. More gas than a barn full of bone vines on a lentil diet. She's run almost the length of the pitch to dot down.
Fantastic solo effort
under the pitch.
We've come to the Defence Science and Technology Labs to take a look behind their normally sealed doors.
The attack is a wake-up call.
It's about controlling, about what's happening, and then reacting to what they're throwing at us.
This is where the force's strongest push their bodies to the max.
Well, welcome back then to Craven Park, where we've seen Army domination for 40 odd minutes and a lot of work to do for the Royal Navy in the second half. And we were just saying off air that we want a competitive game, but this Army side look really impressive at the same time.
Yeah, they are. I just really hope that the Navy are able to bring it to them in this second half. They can exploit them down either side of the wings. They have shown that they are able to do that. I just hope they can break through their defence.
We've seen that particularly a few of those Navy key players have the talent and have the physical ability, so to speak, to get more involved in this game in an attacking sense. Is it a mindset thing now when you're in this position where you're so many points down? Is it keeping the mindset correct?
Yeah, it's just keeping your own mindset, but also your team around you, keeping their spirits up and just battling forward. The more you can battle on, the less tough it becomes.
Absolutely. Well, it has been full force for the Army. We're going to run through the Army team for you just quickly. I don't think we have a graphic ready, but we do have our voices to run through because we do have the up-to-date team. So, number 1, Charlotte Hill, who's been imperious in that first half. Number 2, Akisi Yaravola. Number 3, Manakalo Kamatai. 4, Ellie Rains. 5, Shannon Dring. 6, Zella Yule. 7 was Emily White, who unfortunately went off with an injury in that first half, so I'm not sure we will see her in the second half. Number 8, Kat Williams. Number 9, Izzy Bibi, or Isabel Bibi. Number 10, Una Vakasegu. 11, Shauna Parrish. 12, Jade Tonks. 13, and the new captain, Elise Townsend. 14, Kasalani Guanavanaka. 15, Sky Jackson. 16, Sandy Lewis. 17, Phoebe Partington, who got on the score sheet late on in that first half. Number 18, Adi Roccavosa, and number 20, Kira Fitzpatrick. So we should be up to date for this second half. So we do apologise to Zella Yule, who didn't really get the big shout for each of her tries in that first half. But
no,
she is on
did two miraculous tries through that.
Brilliant tries to get the Army up and running as well. And a newer player to the Army team as well, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so. I've not seen her, unfortunately, I've not seen her play this season. I believe they've brought her on and she's been working well through the Southern Championship.
Well, speaking to the Army the other day, they spoke about the fact that this season there has been no development team due to squad selection, but last season there was, and it impressed very much. And maybe that's where Zella Yule comes from the development team, and we're now seeing the rewards of that a year later here in Hull for the Inter-Services, as both teams come out onto the pitch. Royal Navy were ready a little while before the Army, so I'd imagine there's been a few strong words said in that dressing room to make an impact in this second half. And it's about pride as well, I suppose, at this point, where it's, look, you don't want to be hit for 50, 60 points. Let's show what the Royal Navy is truly about.
Yeah, they're going to be wanting to put something on the board in this half. I know Sean will be biting at the bit to get her name on the scoreboard.
Sean McLaughlin, then the Royal Navy captain, who's, I'm afraid to say, has experienced the Army defeats over the years, so she has been here before, so to speak, but that does mean a bit of wisdom in that dressing room as the Navy get us back underway. Ellie Rains getting hold of it, just about. Shot
Lovely
down.
Bit of pressure though.
Brilliant tackle from Lauren Watson, I believe. Bibi on for Vakasegu, strong running. And now the replacement, Jade Tonks, comes forward.
Unfortunately, that went forward off her.
Did look forward from our position, well up in the gods up here on the gantry. Leah Davidson says, come on, the Royal Navy. So the Navy support is still strong, despite the 40-point difference on the scoreboard so far. As if you should ever doubt the Navy support will always be strong. We saw that last week in Portsmouth. Even in defeat, the Royal Navy kept their support. Navy pleased with the decision.
Yeah, that's because ball's not out until the ref tells you.
There you go. There's one thing, particularly in this sport more than the others sometimes in rugby league and rugby union, respect to the official is number one rule, it feels like.
Yeah, Sean did really well then. She kept the ball well inside her feet. So the Army had already unbound and gone straight for her.
And it'll be Josie Parnaby to get things back underway. Just behind Rosie Staples. Not quite on the same wavelength there. Sorry, it wasn't Rosie Staples. It's Sean McLaughlin. And that's what we've got a monitor in front of us at the moment, which gives us that close-up view, which with the Royal Navy numbers in there red, which is quite difficult to see from up here in the gantry, is quite helpful.
Navy just need to keep composure in this defence now and shoot them down.
Army there looking to get us back underway. And back out the outside with Rains. Go back inside then to Fitzpatrick. Bibi. Rains again. The captain
nice
trying to force forward. Navy standing firm at the moment. Rains. quick hands gets Hill away. Hill's looking for a third try. The Army are putting the pressure back on with Bibby. Rains again, getting her hands on the ball a lot at the moment, and that's brilliant.
Phoebe again.
From Phoebe Partington, dropping the shoulder, getting away from the Navy defence. Brilliant, brilliant movement. And Phoebe Partington adds another score to the Army's rather large and rise in total.
That was just unfortunate from the Navy. They didn't push from the inside, so left quite a major gap for Phoebe to go straight through.
Well, Phoebe Partington, who's come off the replacement bench to replace the former captain, Emily White. That's, again, we mentioned in the first half when she scored, but that in particular, that movement adds another layer to this Army attack, and you would think she'd be pushing for a start next week against the RAF. Depending on Emily's condition, which we hope isn't as bad as it looked.
Yeah, I really hope that Emily is doing all right.
Fitzpatrick then, who's been, apart from the one very difficult kick she's had in the central position, she's been a bit of a sharp shooter. She's not again. It looked from our vantage point like it went through the post, but we are quite high up, and I have put that curse on her there, so I do apologise to Kira Fitzpatrick. It's the way it works in this game. Welcome to the commentator's curse.
I said I wasn't going to say anything.
Well, the Army then not adding the 2 points, but in a very healthy position at 44 points up. As the Navy get us back underway. If you're watching along on BFBS Forcing News YouTube or on BFBS Forcing News Facebook, please do get involved. Jamie Doig was watching along and said at half-time, good first half for the Army women.
Oh, nice run from Maisie.
Big heart shown by the Renegades, the Royal Navy. Another comment saying well done to the Army as well on Facebook. As the Army do come forward with their captain, number 13, Elise Townsend.
It's nice to see the Navy staying on now in the tackle.
BB. Brought down to Rains. On for Partington, who has impressed. And that's wide, that's brilliant hands. Hard for the Navy to get near at the moment.
Oh, lovely tackle by Jasmine Abel.
Abel stopping it right at the line, but the Army won't be stopped. Will they be stopped?
Held up.
They will. It was Townsend looking for a captain's try, but she couldn't quite get over the line.
Abel was quick off the mark from then.
She had to be, though. That quick hand in the middle there. Very good play from the Army. The Navy survive for now. They're not really going anywhere there, though, and they'll be pushed over their own try line.
That's unfortunate now. Drop out from under the sticks, back to the Army.
Well, the kick will come. They'll be looking to get some sort of distance on it, but for what we've seen so far in the game, I expect a red attack to come quickly here. Rains is underneath it, as she has been so far in this second half. On the ball a lot at the moment, Ellie Rains.
Well, she's a strong runner, so they'll be looking to use her to break down the defence.
Bibi now. And it'll be picked up. And a chance on the wing, potentially. And they will go over for another try. And that's Kasilani Guanavinaka. Another Army try goes on the board then, and I mean they told us the game plan. They told the Navy the game plan. Quick hands and move it wide and see if you can stop it. And look, 47 minutes in and 48 points on the board. They haven't been able to stop it. Even though a few of them have come through the middle.
Yeah, that one was just unfortunate. They're not wrapping the ball in defence. They are making some fantastic tackles, but unless they're going to wrap up high, then the ball's going to get offloaded. The Army are known for that. They will offload and they'll find those gaps.
Well, it's the difference in defending as a team or defending individuals. You make great tackles, but you need your teammates to do their jobs as well. And
yeah.
It's not quite happening for the Navy across the board at the moment. The consistency isn't quite there in their defensive work. A wide kick here for Kira Fitzpatrick. One from here earlier in the game that, well, on the opposite side in the first half, that she wasn't able to get through the posts. And
Same again, too short.
Same result. So only 48 points on the board for the Army.
I'm sure that's something Kira will be working on for next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from what I know of Kira Fitzpatrick, if despite a big win potentially for the Army, that's not enough. If she's not kicking every kick she can, that will eat away at her.
Yeah, she will be beating herself up about that. I don't want the Navy to be disheartened because they're doing really well in defence. They just need to keep that ball wrapped.
A lot of lessons to be learned really for the Navy as well, to as you say, keeping the ball wrapped, and a lot of the little things that they are doing well at times but not really consistent enough with. Lessons to learn for future years. It could be really valuable actually, despite what feels like a big score against you.
This is what I mean. They're doing really well now. They're staying on so that the rest of the line can get back. It's just working up on pressure.
Well, Bibby brings it forward again for the Army. Drop from Partington, but
knocked on from Kat.
Knocked on there from Kat Williams.
She'll love this. Not very demure, not very classy.
Right.
It's her token go-to.
Is it? Well, you got one in there. We'll have that. Is that what's going to be said on the field next week? Slyly.
Always.
Yeah. Just looking at the two teams, I know obviously we're into the Army half here, but the Navy are much more compact. The Army are much more spread. And it seems like that's how it's been throughout the game, working the pitch a bit more better.
Yeah, the Navy tend to set up a lot more like they do in Union. So running back towards the rucks instead of taking it out wide, whereas the Army tend to use the whole pitch.
Well, the Navy then getting on the scoreboard would be a positive for them to take forward. And they'll force forward again.
That was unfortunate then. She had the option, 2v1, to ship it out wide.
They didn't do it. They come inside instead. Bludgeoned down by the Army defence. Josie Parnaby offloads quick though. Wasn't offloaded quick though by Cheryl Goodwin there. Felt like there was a pass through and she kept hold of it, but the Navy will keep hold of possession, I think.
The Navy are doing really well with their attacking structure. The only downside to it is the Army can read it really well because they tend to pack one side more than the other. Nice from Lucy.
Really strong running from Lucy Hunnebell. That's what the Navy want to see. Army defenders bouncing off. They're trying to find a way through. It might be Jasmine Abel. Not quite. Parnaby driving
nice
towards the line. The Navy very close to potentially getting their first try of the game, but the Army defence is rugged.
Navy just need to go wide now and ship it.
They haven't quite gone wide. It's still a little compact, to be honest. A few players over on the right-hand side, but the Navy keep plugging forward. Still pushing forward. Now Parnaby will collect. That That's Cheryl Goodwin right near the try line, trying to find a gap, trying to find a way through. Not quite. Army defence is superior at the moment. If you are watching along on YouTube and Facebook, please do get involved.
I think Izzy's struggling with a bit of cramp there.
She's been everywhere at the moment, to be fair to her. But yes, a bit of cramp. And I think a potential change as well for the Army. I can see a player just walking along the side of the pitch here, so try and get her number as soon as she turned around.
I think that was number 10, Una.
Yes, it might be Una Vakasegu. The Army now flying out of the defence potentially, with Zella Yule, who started the Army dominance with a...
Yeah, it looks like Addie's on for Una.
Yep. Addie Roccavosa.
Oh, there goes Cass with her dancing feet.
Hard to stop. The Army is still flying forward. Bibi now. They've still got it, but it will be pulled back.
No, I think that might have been a forward or knock on from Kiro's offload.
That's the problem for the Navy as well at the moment, where for a while that's a really good attacking play, good pressure. Then the Army just get out of it and go.
Yeah.
They're gone, and it's the pace, the power, hard to stop.
Yeah, well, Navy had a lovely 3v2 on that outside, and it was just unfortunate that the Army were just quick.
On the Navy looking to break here, good run in. Across the line. Chopped down by, I think, Komatai. Oh no, sorry, that would have been Roccavosa.
Well, it was a lovely 10-metre run for Samantha Hill to get through that defence.
What you want to see more of from the Navy. It's Lauren Watson now driving forward again.
Oh, unfortunate.
Stumbled through the pass, didn't they? I think it was the pass from, might have been Jessica Shaw in there. Just relinquished the pressure and got the Army back on top of the ball. 56 minutes in here in Hull, and it's been all Army pressure. As you can see by the scoreboard at the bottom left of your screen, 48 points on the board for the Army. The Navy are still plugging away though. It's where you learn a lot about yourself as a player, I suppose, in these positions, where you don't give in, you industrious, keep going, and sort of hardened shells get built by these sort of...
Yeah, you just got to keep reminding yourself to dig deep, don't lose your head.
Well,
nice bit of pressure there from the Navy though.
The Army lost the ball there, lost the flight of it, Phoebe Partington. And as you say, that pressure from the Royal Navy, which maybe we didn't see in the first half and you were calling for, got it there, and they get the ball back.
No, they just need to keep composure and work out wide.
It does show that despite what it may feel like when the Army are flying at you, that they can make mistakes. And if you put the pressure on them, they are more likely to make a mistake. That's how this game works. Talking about putting the pressure on, that was Charlotte Hill. Might have been a little high, I'm not sure there.
Wrap around the shoulders. Some people will call it high, but unfortunately it's not.
Royal Navy working it wide.
Still moving.
Barnaby underneath it. Jinkin. Mickey Hoyle's watching along on YouTube saying, come on the Army, hope the men get the win as well later. Mickey Hoyle, who played for years for the British Army. Fortunately no longer on the field, but you may hear from him soon.
Oh, unfortunate from Lauren.
The mist has disappeared at Hull, which is good. I thought for a moment we were going to struggle to see anyone the way it was coming over, but it's disappeared.
The cold
again.
air still lingers.
The cold air still lingers.
Oh, it looks like Sky's back on.
Yeah, Sky Jackson is back on the field for the Army. The Army managing to use their squad well, which is always a plus for their management team. Ellie Rains couldn't get hold of it. The Army will keep it alive though with Fitzpatrick near the halfway line. Good evasion to get away from the tackle at first there from the captain, Elise Townsend. The Army.
Oh, unfortunate.
Just getting in a little bit scrappy, which is actually a testament to maybe some of the Navy pressure that they're now starting to put on.
Yeah, like I said earlier, if the Navy continue to keep their composure and put pressure on the Army, they do have a tendency to then slip up.
Unfortunately for the Navy, it's come at this point of the game, but that's a positive that the management will take.
Yep. Lauren Watson getting the option to run back in again after dropping it earlier.
She has been a strong runner for the Navy at times today. Army tackle in packs as well, don't they?
Yeah.
And now Honey Bell.
Lucy's just such a strong runner as well.
Shrugs off the challenge and keeps going. Now the Navy trying to work the quicker hands, and fortunately it didn't work out. They gave the ball away. You want them to try that though. That's as I'd imagine as the Navy coaching team. You want them to continue in that vein and improve, but it didn't work out for them there. Tackles not quite working out for them there either, as Jade tonks right through.
Really need to try and stay on that. However, it has benefited them. They've got the knock on.
They do have the knock on. The Army a bit bemused by that decision, but
it was unfortunate. I could see it from Izzy's point of view. But as the ball was played back, she's then knocked it forward a little bit with her own hands. Lovely little wraparound play there.
Yeah, much better from the Royal Navy.
And they've got the advantage.
Quick in their movement there. Barnaby gets us back into the action.
Oh,
slip, unfortunate slip.
Like I said earlier, it's really greasy out there.
See what she was trying to do with a change of movement. Manages to keep the ball though, that's the positive there for the Royal Navy. And there's a player who can really drive through.
And they've got the advantage again. With the Army trying to strip.
Rhiann Dillmore trying to drive through for the Navy there. Much better in the last 5 to 10 minutes for the Royal Navy. They managed to keep the Army at bay. And let's see if they can...
Nice, strong drive from Lauren.
Make a push forward.
Beautiful tackle from Izzy though.
Lauren Watson stopped, but keeping hold of the ball, and the Army... Sorry, the Navy keep going. Pushing through there is
Ellie
Brightwell, who has looked, well, bright.
She has. She's had a fantastic game, to be fair. I know we haven't seen much from the Navy side attacking wise, but defensively and when she is in the attack, whenever she's got the ball in hand, you know it's going to go somewhere.
Some more interchanges then for the Army. I can see that Sandy Lewis has come on. I think Komatai has come back on as well for the Army. Squad management part of the game.
Yeah, that's Kat coming off, Kat Williams.
Kat Williams coming off as well, yeah. Squad management part of the game for the Army, particularly with what is shaping up to be a pretty big, potentially title-deciding game. Well, it will be title-deciding game next week against the RAF, and I don't want to call this before it's over, but potentially winner-take-all.
Oh, yeah.
So, the Navy could make a miraculous comeback here. So I don't want to count them out.
There's still time.
It would make a big story if they did, and it would make a big match next week.
Don't worry, I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes. I'm jotting down.
It's easy to forget, I suppose, with the Army's recent dominance, and I say recent on purpose because before these 14 titles, there was success for the RAF, and it's easy to forget, I suppose, with how dominant they've been over the last 14 years.
They've just built and got stronger and stronger. It's just been unfortunate for a couple of years, both the Navy and the RAF. We had a lot of players leave, a lot of players that we weren't able to get back from out of area, and both sides ended up being quite dwindled. But I feel like we're building on that, and we've built well from that. And we've got a lot of new girls coming through. Young lasses as well, so future's looking bright on both sides.
As always with UK Armed Forces sport participation and numbers and other pieces of work that have to be done over the sport sometimes cause issues. I'm sure everyone understands that.
Oh, lovely. Navy, little bit unfortunate then with that offload.
It was really good play.
We did get a little bit excited, sorry.
It's nice to see the Navy put in the attacking positions and the movement that we know they can, and that's what you want to see. I think it might have been Jasmine Abel who...
She did. She had it was a lovely offload. It was just unfortunate. It reached the tip of her fingers rather than straight to her hands.
Fine margins. The Army have the ball back there with Sky Jackson. And that was Sandy Lewis brought to the ground. It seemed to be a little bit of a palm off there. Accidental, I believe, but Sandy Lewis brushed it off.
Sky doing a normal dominance.
I mean, Sky Jackson did not care that it was a Navy player underneath her there at all. Ellie Range bringing it forward. Bibby. Back to Jackson. Partington.
Oh, a bit high on Phoebe there. That was unfortunate.
Partington sort of spun with the ball there before the high challenge. It's like she turned around and was expecting the Army players to be behind her, and they were all in front of her, so it worked out quite well in her favour actually. Strong running from the Army again, but it was just a clip. I think that was Lauren Watson who's been penalised. And I think the official might have a little bit more to say actually.
I'll be honest, I was too busy looking at that lovely run that was being made that I completely missed whether that was a slide tackle or whether it was with her hand.
Well,
looks like she's getting 10.
She is getting 10. A yellow card, a sin bin for Lauren Watson, who's feisty in the middle of that field, and well, a little too feisty there. Potentially.
Yeah, Navy will just have to keep composure now in defence and work to cover that gap.
And after 15 minutes where the Navy have really impressed actually and made this a real contest.
Oh, lovely.
They're now a player down, and that's the last thing they need with this Army team.
That's the Josie I know.
That is
back
the
making heavy tackles.
This is the Army we are aware of. Well,
Kira will be beating herself up on that one.
Yeah. it's still a lot. You have to go to the referee's whistle. It took a while, but it got there. Yeah, Kira, as much as Kira dropped it, I think the pass wasn't quite where she expected it as well from Charlotte Hill. So we'll give her a bit more. A more difficult task, more than ever now for the Navy with a player down. I mean, have you been in this position yourself over your experience on the field, player down against this Army team?
Yeah,
making the more difficult.
Yeah, it can be. But just keep composure, really. Work to where they were working earlier. If they try and push it out wide, it seems to work well. They just need to
stay in it for the 10 minutes or so, and well, see if they can make roads forward too. Brightwell. Army chopped down the Navy attacker there.
Well, that was a bit high on Lucy.
I mean, it's still a bit high, to be honest, but Ellie Rains isn't called up for it. The Navy now working it across the line. Really good play, actually.
Jasmine Abel there.
Jasmine Abel showing she does have that little bit of flair to her at times. Fortunately, the Navy haven't really been able to get her into a position where she can take advantage and hurt the Army, but we've seen just glimpses of what she can do.
Good to see Sean back with the ball in hand.
The Navy keeping hold of the pressure then.
Oh, nice from Josie.
I'll be pushing and pushing, push down. And the kick.
I believe someone may have been offside.
Well, the Navy will cheer that one.
This gives them that option now
Yeah.
to go out wide if they can. They're already hitting a lot of the gaps. It'd be nice to see them actually drive through them. So long as the girls give Josie that option on either side.
Oh, the Navy kick. Get the ball back into the action and trying to push forward. Parnaby picking it up. Pass through wide again, and they just got to be pushed.
Unfortunately, her feet went out.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Nice defence from the Army.
Now we have the answer to what was a positive and promising Navy attack actually there. The Army will be able to have the chance anyway to get themselves out of this defensive position. You can see the wind is whipping around the players, by the way. Look at the shirts, just particularly the referees are it's too much of a baggy shirt there. It's just showing it's flying around them.
They're a little bit big this season. Navy doing well to keep hold of them.
Bibby now. Rains. Hill. Sorry. Army keep it alive though.
Forward.
Strong tackle in the middle, but they managed to keep it alive with Sandy Lewis it was.
Navy are doing well now, shipping left and right with only 12 players in defence.
Much more of a contest actually since the last try went in. It's been a while since we've seen the Army really get into an attacking position, and that's credit to this Navy backbone, so to speak. They're really frustrated, this Army team now.
Yeah, the Navy are looking a lot more composed as well. Army are starting to look a little bit frustrated, whether that be individually or as a team.
Well, 40 points in the first 40 minutes. Only 8 points in the next 30. And that's testament really to the Navy's work. They're pushing forward.
A lovely little show and go there.
Spread wide to Rhiann Dillmore. Came inside with it.
And Jasmine finding gaps again.
Absolutely. I wasn't sure if it was a forward pass, to be honest, but we continue.
Oh, I think
Ellie Rains might have taken a knock here.
I think she went a little bit too low, and I think Jasmine's knees caught her right in the head.
Well, physio's on to see her. She's played well, Ellie Rains, particularly in the second half, more than the first actually. She's been more in the action, and I suppose that again we talk about the Navy making it more of a battle in there. That brings Ellie Rains into the game actually for the Army. Hopefully she will be able to continue. In fact, I don't think she is. I just saw a change be made. So the Army will be making a change, and I think Yaravoli is going to come back on. Lise Townsend just going to check on one of the senior members in the team. That would be a second senior member of the Army team that's gone off injured in this game, which...
Yeah, if this is a head knock though, the likelihood of her being back next week is going to be slim.
Well, hopefully Ellie Rains will be able to keep herself fit and healthy.
Although we do have to stick by the concussion protocol
Absolutely.
these days now.
And that's what I mean by fit and healthy. If it means she misses the match, she misses the match. I'm sure the Army management team will be having their best interests.
Hopefully it's nothing much.
It was quite a blow she took, I think. Just looking at her as she leaves the field,
She looks disappointed.
Yeah.
Well, she shouldn't be, because she's had a really good game.
Smile on her face though eventually as she leaves. So I have a feeling the Army coach just said, "Have you seen the score? It's okay." And smile comes back on. Navy then to get the action back underway with Barnaby. Brightwell passes it on, good offload. But Yule did well actually in the challenge, and I think the Army have got the decision.
She's accidentally knocked it on.
And that's the loudest I've seen the Navy be actually all afternoon there.
Yeah, it's nice to see Josie using her voice.
Josie using her voice, saw Ellie Brightwell there saying, "Come on, strong in this scrum now."
This is what I mean, the leadership side from the Navy. So even when going is getting really tough, they're there, they're bringing them all back up, they're sticking together as a team.
Well, the Navy have certainly made this more of a contest in the second half. Haven't got to try to really show for it though. The scoreboard doesn't show it.
Lovely.
Brilliant
Navy
challenge.
forcing that knock on there.
I think that was Kerry's right.
She's made some lovely try-saving tackles.
Brilliant play from the Navy players. Gives a little celebration off camera there, by the way, to the bench. Just celebrate her own individual tackle. That's always nice. She comes back in there for the scrum. We are hoping to have post-match comments from, well, I would imagine from the Army. We'll try and sort that for you at the end of this game. But still 5 minutes to go. I feel like the officials been brought into the game a lot more in the second half.
I apologise.
It's not a bad thing for the Navy though. It shows how they've made this a scrap. Partington bringing it forward for the Army. Staying on the tackle a bit more than Navy as well. That's a really good play though from the Army. From Townsend with the offload. And there's a few players over. And Komatai onto Yaravoli, who's got speed to burn. And as much as the Navy have made this a contest, the Army have always had that threat. And they've scored another try. Sense of deflation actually with the Navy team within that, and it must be difficult to take after 10 to 15 to 20 minutes or so of really good work and good play, and just like that the Army just score.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate. A gap was left and they attacked at it.
And when you've got players like a really good offload in there from the captain for the Army, Elise Townsend, sorry. Really good offload in there, gets Komatai away, and then, I mean, the pace of Yaravoli does the business against the Navy. Again, we saw it last year in Portsmouth when the whole half of the pitch, maybe not quite as much of a run this time, but great try for the Army. And a new kicker here with Kira Fitzpatrick passing on the kick here. Trying to see who the kicker is actually. It might. Nope. Our monitor just dropped out as we're figuring out how to do post-match comms, but their kick.
Oh, that was unfortunate.
Desperately close to adding another 2 points for the Army. But the Army have breached that 50-point mark. And the kickers come in over into the field here, and it's the number 5, I think. So that might be Shannon Dring, who was given an option, and she was desperately close to getting some points on the board. Our roving reporter Kath Fraser is on her way down from the gantry to see what post-match comments she can get from the Army, with potentially the new captain Lance Bombardier, Elise Townsend, who spoke well with me and Catterick, so hopefully she'll be willing to speak to us again. That's really good play from the Navy actually in defence. That's the passion you wanted to see all game there.
Yeah, it looks like Navy have made an interchange as well.
Yeah, I think that's Kate Sutherland who's come off the bench, and clearly has been said, come on, go on then, make an impact, see what you can do. That's better.
Yeah, I believe this is her first inter-service game as well.
Absolutely, but she's been bypassed there. And Komatai coming forward for the Army. That is strong defensive work.
It was nice work from Ellie and Jasmine.
Two of the more senior members of the Navy team cutting Komatai down.
Navy just need to match numbers now and dig deep in defence.
There's the Army captain there, Townsend, driving it forward. And that is full time then. And the British Army are underway in 2024 with style too. 52 points on the board. They are going to take some stopping. The RAF will try next week.
We will.
But on this evidence, a 15th inter-services title isn't, well, it isn't that far out of their reach, because that was difficult for the Navy.
Well,
never say never. I know. Never say never. And look, we're looking forward to what will now be a winner-take-all match in Wakefield next week. A lot of things for the RAF to take on board from this Army performance, because they told us their game plan from the start. They did it numerous times, and they got on the scoreboard numerous times. How do you stop it?
Well,
Find out.
composure, defence.
Composure, yeah.
Yeah, no. Hopefully they're not going to think of us too much as the underdogs, and hopefully they won't underestimate us next week. But yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a really good game.
Absolutely. And that's what Inter-Services Rugby League is all about. You want to see the best of the best, and at the moment with 14 Inter-Services titles in their bag in the last 14 years, the Army are the best. The RAF will be looking to cut them down from that throne though. And yeah, an RAF Inter-Services title win sounds nice to you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to retire with a title. That would be nice. It's been a long 15 years, so yeah.
Credit then to these Royal Navy players as well, who look, 52 points the deficit, but in that second half, a lot of things they can be proud of their performance actually.
Yeah, they worked really hard in that second half. They really kept their team composure, and they battled through. I don't think we saw anyone lose their heads at all during that Navy side. And even when they went down to 12 players, they were still hitting hard and breaking gaps.
Absolutely. I mean, just to roll out a few names that seemed to really impress. Jasmine Abel did well. Eddie Brightwell, lots of bright spots from her. Yeah. Josie Parnaby was brilliant. Rosie Staples did well. Sean McLaughlin leading as the captain. If they can start putting things into more of a consistent basis, these little things, you can see them growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, I think they just really need to buy into what Matt is bringing as a coach, because he's got a great team around them. They just, yeah, most of them are brand new girls that are new to league as well. Big union background, which you can see on the pitch. They just, yeah, I think a bit of time and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Okay, well, I think we have Elise Townsend ready for a chat, the Army captain. So let's throw over to Kath Brazier.
I'm here with winning Army captain Elise Townsend. Elise, quite a dominant first half. They pulled you back a little bit in the second half, but I'd say you're pretty much pleased with that performance all round.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm on such a high right now. You know, mistakes happen in games, and that's how you improve and you get the team to work better. But the score, honestly, I couldn't be prouder of the girls.
I know it's not difficult coming here as defending champions, but when you've been defending champions for so many years, there is the potential of complacency setting in, but actually the attitude of Army women this year has been really quite strong. You're absolutely determined to hammer everyone.
Yeah, I think it's challenging because we have won so many times, but we'll never come here expecting to win. You know, we've always got to bring the game faces, and we've still got to fight for that title, and that's exactly what each individual did today. And you know, coming on the pitch and being able to come away winning again, it's a great feeling.
Did you sort of relax a little bit in the second half, or was it just more the fact that the Navy kind of pulled themselves together a bit, because they really staunched the flow of scoring in the second half?
Yeah, massively. I mean, the second half compared to the first half, we fumbled a little bit, and it was about humbling ourselves and not getting too complacent. We still had to fight. The Navy was strong the whole game, and it was just about always being on that front foot and fighting for it.
And now it's not finished, you know, you've got another game against the RAF that you will be able to look back at last week about their win over the Navy, which was slightly smaller margin than you've managed to achieve here, but imagine the same mindset going into next week as well.
Oh, definitely. You know, we're always going to go into a game with us headstrong, thinking that we really need to get the upper hand. RAF are just as strong as the Navy. They've got a really strong pack, and it's just about getting on that pitch and really trying to push forward. RAF always a really good, you know, tugging the ruck, but it's really exciting, and I can't wait for next week.
Congratulations, and we'll see you at Wakefield.
Thank you very much. Okay.
That's Elise Townsend then. Must be pleased with a big victory, and as the players will have their post-match, we will say goodbye. Big thank you to Rachel, who's I think might just be dipping away to enjoy a spag bowl that she's earned after a big day of officiating and commentating. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm off to In Touch Goal the next game.
There we go. We'll see her next week when the RAF take on this Army side in a winner-take-all match in Wakefield. We'll be back in about half an hour or so with the men's match. Really tasty looking Inter-Services match coming up. The Royal Navy, the men's team, can they keep their championship reign and championship hopes alive. They have to beat the Army if they are to do that. Well, the Army are looking to right some wrongs over the last 2 years. We're back in about half an hour, 3:45 for that one. So thank you very much for joining us. And yeah, the Army women dominant once again.
Straight through and under the post, the Army hit back. And it's straight over for a try. Early doors for the Navy. That ball goes out wide. It is going to be another try for the RAF.